Okay, for this tutorial, last tutorial I covered Vim and gvim and why those two tools are epic. In this tutorial, I'm going to cover a newer tool called Sublime. And Sublime's a little bit easier to get used to. The commands aren't as, random. Like, on Vim, generally what I have to do, if I can't remember something, is I come up here and I go to Vim tutorial, or Vim commands, and I just Google that, and there's a cheat sheet for all the ones that you can do, and all the cool stuff that you can do with it. Of course, you can find and replace according to regular expressions and other stuff. The whole point is to make your life easier when you're coding, so you code faster. The other text editor that we have is Sublime. Now, the reason that I am emphasizing these editors so much rather than using like a typical IDE is when you're coding, you should have a good background in one editor that you can code fast in. Or maybe two. Like, I prefer these two, gvim and Sublime. You should also know what tools you're using to build, and then also, of course, know a scripting language. So, like, say, for instance, you know one lower-level language, C, assembly, C++, Java. That's all I would still consider lower level, even though if they might have higher-level semantics sometimes. And then there's scripting languages like Python, Ruby, Perl, JavaScript. Those things help you speed up tasks that would normally be slow or hard or difficult to code in one of those lower level languages. And I'll do that in another tutorial. But in this one, let's cover Sublime. So, like I was showing before, I have this chunk over here. I'm going to go ahead and close that because I don't want to change those. That's going to be my useful code. And I'm going to open up this folder that I have under More Code, the same one that I had for our Vim tutorial. So, if I don't know what happened there, if I come down to like this ADC function, you can see that there has been some changes here in our code. ADC.h, FIFO.c, FIFO.h, and I can open up multiple ones and have these different tabs here with all of the code. Well, there's some nice cool things that you can do in your or when you're running in Sublime. Like in Vim, I showed you guys how you can select a whole column. Well, in Sublime, you do something similar, except now I just select this chunk, for instance, and I hit Control D, and it'll select the next one down. You can select all of those that do that. So in this case, I want to select the whole thing, but let's go ahead and just select this as is. Control D, 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 and it'll just keep selecting them like that, and then you can move them all accordingly. Well, when it's in one flat line, that's not a big deal. But what if this one is here, this one is here, that one is back, and this one is there? Well, in Vim, that is a nightmare to deal with. It is possible, but it's not fun. However, in Sublime, it is easy. So what I can do is I can just select this, Control D to select the next one, 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 the next one. It'll automatically select them, whatever order they're in. And you can just keep hitting this, and it'll keep going through all of your code if you want. Oh, man, there's a lot more of those things than I expected. And then you can modify them all at once. And that's one thing you can do with Sublime. Another thing that's useful is our Control P, which will let you search for things inside your file. So all of your files over here are now open and searchable. If I want to search, like say I have this FIFO, add index FIFO function. Actually, no, that one's going to be a little bit harder to search for. I have my tcb.c file, which, as far as you guys know, it's completely useless. So let's Control P to open up this search feature, for the thing we're going to look for, and then tcb initial stack. That will search just within this file. We can't find it. Suppose I want to find it in any file, I can just say find in file, Shift Control F. And then now I can replace it with this TCB initial stack. Find. It'll tell me what folders it's in and what it's doing, like how it's being used and such. But this Control P option, why did I bring that up? Well, suppose I'm in here. I have all of this code and a lot of things are going to be called, and I don't want to just like search for this string, for instance. Like, how often is this string used? Control F, write command, how many? It's got 10 matches overall. I want to find where it is defined as a function. Well, now I can do Control P, and I can do at write command, and it'll take me directly to that command, no matter what. I can even be way down here, and I can do Control P at write command. It will always take you to the definition, which is super helpful. And then, really, it's also got this nice little thing over here, and it's really for like where you are in your code, and that's nice. And then, of course, you can split your workspace as well. How do I do that? It's been forever since I've done that. I have it actually just automatically split on my what's it called? On my system. Okay, here we go. So, layout, groups, and then you can do like 2 columns over here. And now I have 2 sets of code. I click this one. lab2.c will be open. You can actually do the same thing in Vim. This is also really cool. So I forgot to mention this in the Vim tutorial. I'm going to bring it up real fast for those of you who care. So if I do Control W for window and then V, it'll split it down the middle. And then now I can select these 2 things. If I can do Control WS, it'll split it horizontally. And then you can just keep, like Control WW will switch the window. So you can have multiple files open in the same window, or the same file open in the same window at multiple points, and you can modify it there. But the main point is you can have all of your code in one place, and you can, when you're coding and when you're doing some of these things, it's nice to have documentation open on one half, and it's nice to have your code on the other half. Like when you're looking at the header file, in this case, sc7735.c. Now let's look at the header file where everything is declared. Now it's all here, and I can search through it. Of course, all of this stuff looks scary because it is, and I'm afraid of it, and I'm not looking forward to the lab that I have to do with all of this tomorrow. Okay, so that is Sublime in a nutshell. If you guys have any questions, just let me know.